is I did recently review Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs on 4K Blu-ray. And I'll be honest with you, I've watched that movie so many times on Blu-ray that yes, it does look very crappy for sure. But the movie's so good though. I've never really cared how bad it looked. I always thought that's the way it was supposed to look because of the nature of the type of film it is. Kind of like this gritty, I'm going to cut your ear off type of video, you know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Just Hitman or whatever they're doing. So I was just like, oh man, fucking awesome movie. This is a Quentin Tarantino type of movie. But then I got the 4K and I was just like blown away. It looks so good. Do you have it? Did you pick it up?
No, but I've heard, yeah, that Blu-ray transfer was shit.
I wasn't expecting this at all. I just sat down. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, the first scene opened up. I was like, oh my God, this is like Top Gun status right here. I was just like Top Gun Maverick status. I was like, this is like, I was more impressed with this than I was, well, maybe not more, maybe a couple notches, a couple tenths off, but very close to Top Gun Maverick. Almost no grain. Apparently they used a special film, like a high contrast film or something like that, to mitigate the grain usage in the film. So I'm not a cinematographer, so I don't know. I've read this somewhere, but I guess the grain structure is so fine in the film stock they used. It just almost doesn't look like it was shot on film. It almost looks like it was shot digitally, and maybe they added a very light digital layer of grain. You know, sometimes I'll do that in my videos, but yeah, dude, it's so good looking. It's so sharp. It looks like it was shot yesterday. It was like, damn. I was like, look at Harvey Keitel. And then you go back and look at like Steve Buscemi now. I was like, oh man, this man. Sometimes it's a little jarring when you see old movies that are transferred really nicely because you know they don't look like that anymore. You're like, oh my God, this movie was like 30 years old and it looks like it was done today. It's so weird. It's so good looking. It's that good. And I did Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Which I think looks better than Reservoir Dogs. You know, if you can believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say it looks as good as Top Gun. I think so. There's a couple scenes where it's a little bit soft, but yeah, man, it looks really good.
Oh, did that also just come out on 4K?
I think it comes out in a couple more weeks.
Oh, it's about to come out. Okay.
Yeah, great looking transfer. I think, well, Reservoir Dogs, you guys will see Pulp Fiction in a few weeks. But Reservoir Dogs, it does look a little bit warmer. I think I mentioned that in the video. I don't know if I did or not, but I think it's a little more, slightly a red push in it. But man, damn, such a good looking movie. And it's only like $15 on, I think it's brand new. It's like $15. I mean, if you're a Quentin fan, then
really?
how could you not want to see that? How could you not want to buy that?
Kidding.
Yeah.
Like standard is $30 when a new 4K comes out. So that's awesome.
You know, it sucks on the Kaleidoscape. It is 40. Well, if it's Warner Brothers, it's $40 for whatever reason. Ridiculous.
What?
Yeah. Since we were talking about Quentin Tarantino, this is news that came out, I think like today, or maybe it was yesterday. So Quentin is, you know, he's going to do like 10 movies, I think, and then he's going to retire.
Yeah, that's what he's been saying.
But he's going to be working on a television show. Quentin Tarantino has disclosed that he has plans to step back into television, looking to shoot an 8-episode series in 2023. The film director shares news on the project Wednesday night while promoting his new book, Cinema Speculation at New York. So yeah, man, he's going to be shooting an 8-episode TV show. Who knows what it's going to be about? Is it going to be about, you know, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Because I think there was like a faux TV show in that movie. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah, right.
It was like I think it was Bounty Law.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
correct.
I mean, how awesome would that be if you got Brad Pitt and DiCaprio back, Sam Jackson maybe, for an 8-episode run on TV? How sick would that be? Clearly, it would have to be in like an HBO Max or Cinemax or Showtime or something like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to know which platform it's going to be on.
Dropping those N-bombs every episode,
Right.
every 5 seconds.
Funny you mentioned Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I finally saw that just last weekend. I mean, it's definitely a love letter to that era for sure.
Yeah.
And I was totally blown away by just the scope of just attention to detail, right? Every single shot was of that era. So just the research that went into it, just acquiring all of the different, like
Yeah.
even the beers that they were drinking and stuff were from that era. So it was just incredible. The cars, that aspect just blew me away. But it just doesn't seem like a lot happens in the movie, especially
Yeah.
with all there are so many shots of them driving and for quite some time. Like they're driving for like at least a minute. And in cinema time, that is a lifetime.
Hmm.
So yeah, I had some issues. I think it definitely could have been probably like 20, 30 minutes shorter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But uh but yeah, for the most part, I enjoyed it for sure. I mean, I enjoy everything Quentin Tarantino does.
Yeah. It definitely gets a little bit
But yeah,
long-winded in his narrative sometimes.
yeah, that one definitely had some many long-winded parts where I'm like, okay, or just something like scenes where not much even really happens. It's just kind of we're just kind of hanging out with a character,
Hmm.
and it's like, all right,
I
cool.
did I enjoyed it more than Hateful Eight. That's
You know what? That's honestly now it's the only one I haven't seen of his.
really well. They break it up on Netflix. It's in 4K on Netflix. I think it's like
Oh, really?
maybe like four. I think they break it up into four parts,
Wow.
so they make it more digestible. Because the first time I saw it, I was like, yo, what is this going on with the fucking movie, man? It's like, why is it, why is it so long? It's like, why
Right.
is it, Quentin? What are you doing in here? But
How long is it? Like 4 hours or something?
I don't know if it's 4 hours, but it just seems like it's overly long. They broke it up.
Yeah.
I think there was an intermission in theatrically. I think there was an intermission.
Right.
If
I
I'm not
remember that.
mistaken, somebody would know for sure. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited to see this TV show. Is this gonna count as his 10th thing, or is he
No.
subverting this? You don't think so?
I think it's just films. That's gonna be 10 films.
Hmm.
But I'm still cool with him making other content. Yeah, by all
I
means.
Yeah, I hope he's not gonna be like, I'm gonna direct the first two episodes, and then I'm gonna write the story, direct two episodes, and then leave it up to another six directors to do the others.
Yeah, I hope he's in it for the long haul and does everything. Uh,
It's like
yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw Mindhunter, which is on Netflix,
Yes. Yes.
but I think like David Fincher did like the first episode and maybe like a couple towards the end.
Right.
Um, but I just recently saw that, so after I watched Dahmer, I was like, I gotta watch more serial killer shows.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, first episode, I was like, shit, this looks like Seven. And then like
Yeah.
the next episode, I was like, this is a different director because it's not grainy at all.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely. Like he's one of those directors that has their own style. So I hope, he just does. He actually does full 8 episodes.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Question for you guys though: are you guys interested in a Quentin Tarantino television show? And also, did you guys pick up Reservoir Dogs on 4K Blu-ray? What do you think about the transfer? How does it stack up to the current crop of 4Ks today? Do you think it looks as good as Top Gun Maverick? Leave your thoughts in the comment section.